Welcome back. A look at sports, and here's Olumide Macaulay.
Thank you, Jama. Welcome to Sports News. Portuguese club CD Nacional have announced the arrival of Nigeria international Al-Hassan Ibrahim on a 4-year contract. Al-Hassan was set to join rivals SC Maritimo, but transfer negotiations broke down, allowing Nacional, who are back in the Portuguese top flight, to snap him up. He was part of the Super Eagles team that lost to UEFA Europa League champions Atletico Madrid in a friendly in Uyo last month. The 21-year-old has played for Wiki Torres, Alca United and Austria Vienna. The International Basketball Federation, FIBA, have suspended 13 players after an on-court brawl during a World Cup qualifying tie between the Philippines and Australia earlier this month. 10 Philippine players have been banned for 35 games between them, while 3 Australians will miss 9. Both sides have been charged various sums of money. The Philippines have been ordered to play their next home game behind closed doors. In motorsport, reigning Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton has finally ended speculation over his future by signing a new 2-season deal with Mercedes. Hamilton had been due to become a free agent at the end of the year, but has now extended until 2020 for a reported £40 million per year. The 4-time world champion will be nearing his 36th birthday at the conclusion of his latest contract. He joined Mercedes from McLaren for the 2013 season and has won 3 of the past 4 world championships. And 7 new events will be included in the program for the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. The Games, which will feature a record number of female athletes, will debut the women's monobob, a discipline trialed at youth level in 2016. Skiing big air is included after a successful snowboard debut at the Games earlier this year, and 4 mixed team events are also part of the program in the Chinese capital. The changes mean there will be an equal number of events for men and women in bobsleigh.
In the Olympic Winter Games, but in every one of those events we're using existing venues and existing fields of play, so there's no new venues or fields of play needed. All of those events bring something new to the Olympic Games. They bring in new youth focus, they bring mixed events combining both men and women in the same teams in a number of cases. We've increased gender equality from 41% to over 45%, which is really important, and got that overall number of athletes down below the specification in the Olympic Charter for the first time. So for us it's a really great package which reaches out to young audiences, which continues the innovation but really reflects our goal of reducing the size of the Olympic Winter Games overall.
Finally, the police in Kazakhstan have opened an investigation into the murder of an Olympic bronze medalist figure skater Denis Ten after he was stabbed to death today. Police say the 25-year-old was stabbed during a struggle with 2 men he had caught trying to steal the mirrors on his car. The police confirmed that he was then rushed to hospital but died 3 hours later of his injuries. The International Skating Union, the sport's global governing body, said it was deeply saddened by the death of Ten, who won bronze at the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. That's it on Sports News. Ijoma will be back now with the rest of the news at 10.
Thanks a lot, Olumide. U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected a proposal made by Russian President Vladimir Putin to allow Russia question some U.S. citizens accused of illegal actions. According to the White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, there were plans to consider the proposal, but now Mr. Trump disagrees with the suggestion. The offer was made at a summit of both leaders, and in return, Mr. Putin suggested he might allow the U.S. access to 12 Russians indicted by the United States. The idea of allowing a foreign power to quiz U.S. citizens sparked outrage, with many accusing Mr. Trump for failing to stand up to the Russian leader. The Senate voted 98-0 on a resolution warning President Trump not to allow Russia question diplomats and other officials. And in the United Kingdom, the police say they've identified suspects involved in the poisoning of former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. They say many of them are Russians and were identified through CCTV and cross-checked with border entry data. Nearly 4 months after the Scripples incident, a couple, Dawn Sturgis and Charlie Rowley, were poisoned by the same nerve agent used on the Scripples. The police believe the incidents are linked, and the government continues to blame Russia, but the country's authorities deny any involvement. Investigations now continue into how the couple were poisoned.
The British police have identified several Russians who they believe were behind the nerve agent attack on former double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter. Skripal, a former colonel in the Russian military intelligence who betrayed dozens of agents to Britain's MI6 foreign spy service, and his daughter Yulia were found unconscious on a public bench in the British city of Salisbury on March the 4th. Britain blamed Russia for the poisonings and identified the poison as Novichok, a deadly group of nerve agents developed by the Soviet military in the 1970s and 1980s. After analyzing closed-circuit television, police think several Russians were involved in the attack on the Scripples, who spent weeks in hospital before being spirited to a secret location for their safety. The motive for attacking Skripal, an aged Russian traitor who was exchanged in a Kremlin-approved spy swap in 2010, is still unclear, as is the motive for using an exotic nerve agent which has such overt links to Russia's Soviet past.
The Sudanese President Salva Kiir says he's ready to accept a peace deal to end the civil war and set up an inclusive new government. The deal, which is being negotiated, would give the country 5 vice presidents, including 1 woman, and also covers security and power sharing. President Kiir and his rival Riek Machar signed a permanent ceasefire last month, although there's been some violence since that agreement. Since 2013, when the fighting broke out, more than 4 million people have been displaced in the conflict. And the main news again. The Senate today engaged in a rowdy session over President Muhammadu Buhari's latest appointment for government parastatals. Also today, Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, threatened to pull out of the 2019 general election over vote-buying allegations and lack of confidence in INEC. And US President Donald Trump today rejected a proposal for Russia to interrogate US citizens. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Kunyato. Good night.